Hey everybody, I'm Bede, aka the Terrible Australian of supermarcy.com, and this is my ninth edition of my 2015 MIFF video reviews. For this one, I will be reviewing the Australian film The Daughter, and as well as the martial arts film The Assassin. So let's get right into it. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, I will be reading you would know that I'll be reading the synopsises for these films from this year's MIFF program. So that way I don't screw up. So, because I do have a habit of doing that, but that's a whole different story. So let's get right into it. And first up is The Daughter. Acclaimed stage director Simon Stone makes his first foray into feature filmmaking with this adaptation of the award-winning play The Wild Duck. After many years away, Christian returns to the logging town he once called home for his father's wedding. As he reconnects with his family and childhood friends, he unearths a long-buried secret but his attempts to fix things threaten to destroy all that he had left behind years before. Now, anybody who knows me knows, if you ever follow my writings over at supermarcy.com or my video reviews, you would know that I'm a big fan and as well as a big supporter of Australian films. I think our filmmaking community in this country is very underappreciated by a lot of people, and some people, they've had a bit of a mixed reaction over the years, which is a shame because I honestly think Australia has made a lot of great films over the last couple of years, but some people just don't seem to appreciate that. But that's not to say Australia, Australian, there haven't been bad Australian films as well. We've had our fair share of clunkers here and there. Unfortunately, I did think The Daughter did belong in that category. Unfortunately, I'm not going to lie. I really did not like this film at all, and the reason for that is, and I know this film is based on a play that came out in 1884. So the story for it doesn't feel as fresh as it did back then, and there have been a lot of films since, and plays and all that since then, that have kind of tackled kind of similar ideas and concepts and stories similar to this one, but it just did not feel fresh to me, and it just felt really cliched and predictable. Like I said, if you remember what I said in the synopsis, this is about a character finding out about a buried secret and it's a secret that tears a community apart. And the main problem I had with the film is regards to that, because the film kind of treats this secret as it's like some big major revelation, but the thing is, you can easily figure it out within the first 10 minutes what that is. And that wouldn't have bothered me so much if the film was kind of upfront about that with the beginning. But for about most of the film kind of doesn't shed light on it. And the reason for that is, it almost seems, because during the film there are times where characters are talking about this. And when a character is just about to mention what the secret is, it cuts to, their reactions afterwards, and it does that a lot during the course of this film. And to me, it almost seemed like the film was trying to trying to keep this secret a secret until it's finally out in the open. But to be honest, I found that really frustrating, and mainly because, like I said, the secret itself is so bloody obvious that by the time it actually is finally revealed, there's no impact to it at all. And and then once it does, the film just kind of descends into absolute over-the-top melodrama, where characters do and say things that just don't make any sense. And which is a shame, because at least for a while there, even though I was frustrated at the way how they were trying to handle the secret of the film, I thought the film was, for most part, it was fine. Like, it wasn't great or anything. I thought the performances were all pretty solid, and the film's got a really great cast. You got Jeffrey Rush, Sam Neill, Miranda Otto, Anna Torv, Ewan Leslie, and a young newcomer, Odessa Young, who I thought was really good in this film. and as well as American actor Paul Schneider, who plays the role of Christian. And for most part, the performances are fine, and the film visually looks great. It's a bit dreary looking. It's a dreary looking film, but the cinematography is pretty great, and the score is pretty solid. But as the film goes on, it just keeps getting more predictable and descends more into cliches, and then finally it just descends into full-on melodrama, and it feels very manipulative when it tries to force emotions from the situations that are happening in this film, because honestly, after a while, I just no longer cared about anything that was going on in this film, and then of course the film ends on such an anticlimactic moment that I was like, what? And it felt like the film needed to be longer, but it just ends, and that really frustrated the hell out of me, and yeah, and that's the problem there. Like, this story could have worked, but it just ends up. But the director Simon Stone, who also wrote the screenplay, he just basically just fills this whole movie with cliches and predictability and melodrama that it just is not, and that the story itself is just not effective at all, and it just comes off as, like I said, manipulative and pretty heavy-handed, and which is a shame, because there's a good story in there. It's just the execution of it is just so lousy. And also, after a while, a lot of the actors, even though some of them do fine work, a lot of them aren't really given much to do. Like, Anna Torv in this film, like, she's basically given nothing to do, like, in this film with her character. And Jeffrey Rush, who's a great actor, even he doesn't have much in terms of a role in this one. But to me, the best performances were definitely Ewan Leslie, Sam Neill, and Odessa Young, which I thought were definitely the ones that sort of helped this movie at least get me a bit interested in it. But at the same time, even then, some of the characters, particularly the character of Christian, played by Paul Schneider, are so unsympathetic that you just couldn't care what happened to him, because you just didn't like him. And which is a shame, because like I said, there's a decent film in there, but it's just from a script level, it just doesn't work, and it's a shame. So yeah, I really didn't like this one at all. It's just starts off fine, but then falls into cheesy melodrama. So well, not cheesy, more like over the top melodrama, I should say. It becomes a mess in the last half. So if I had to give The Daughter a rating, I'd give it about 1.5. So, yeah. Now on to the next film, which is is the martial arts film, The Assassin. So, in 9th century China, 10-year-old Ni Yin-yang is stolen away from her father, trained to become an assassin, and tasked with eliminating corrupt governors. But 13 years later, her past comes calling after disappointing her master by failing to complete a mission. Ni is sent back to her family with orders to kill the cousin she was once betrothed to. One of the reasons why I was really interested in checking out The Assassin was, for the main reason was, it got a lot of acclaim because at the Cannes Film Festival where it premiered, and also the film's director, and I'm probably going to butcher the director's name, so forgive me. Who? Seo Hisan? Like I said, I apologize if I got the director's name wrong, so forgive me. He won the Best Director award for this film, and I thought, okay, and it's all, and I enjoyed martial arts epics, so I thought, okay, I'll give this one a chance, because it sounded really interesting. So, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna. If you thought I hated The Daughter, you're gonna wait. Yeah, I hated The Assassin much, much more. I'm not gonna lie. This film bored the absolute crap out of me. This is probably one of the most boring films I have seen in quite a while. And after because you get the sort of the plot of this film within the first 10 minutes, but after that, it just becomes extremely dull, and the story just becomes hard to follow, and I just did not care about anything that happened in this film. I didn't care about the story. I didn't care about the characters, and even the fight scenes like were very underwhelming as well. And the main reason for that is that because the fight scenes, even though they're really good when they happen, but they pretty much only last for about 10 to 20 seconds. And once they just start getting going, they just basically end. And then you basically have to wait for another 10, 20, 15 minutes or so for another one. And then it keeps, and it becomes another underwhelming fight scene. And then the next one comes along, it also becomes underwhelming. And that just became so frustrating with me because I thought, okay, even if the story, I didn't give a crap about what was going on in terms of character or story, I would have appreciated the fight scenes, but even then, the fight scenes were just dull and underwhelming, and which is a shame because I don't know what this film was going for. I guess it was trying to be a bit of a mood piece or something like that, but even then, like, I just didn't care. And I should state that I have nothing against very slow-paced films. I like slow-paced films as much as the next person, but at the same time, you've got to have something in it that I can find compelling as a viewer, whether it's a character or a performance or a theme or an idea that the film is sort of exploring, and so that way, even though it's going at a very deliberate pace, it's still engaging to me as a viewer. But unfortunately, there's none of that in this film. I just did. It just was dull. Everything about this film was dull, and it's a shame because it could have been a good film, but for me, I just thought I just hated the experience of watching this film. It just was so agonizing. It just felt like it felt like an absolute chore watching this film. Now you're probably wondering, was there anything about this film that I thought was good? On a technical level, the film is pretty solid. Like, visually, the film looks spectacular. Like, this is definitely one of the best shot looking films I have seen this year. And the cinematography is just beautiful. And also the production and costume design were pretty solid. But even then, they weren't able to save this film from being absolutely dull. Like, maybe it's just me, because I know a lot of people, not just at MIFF, and a lot of critics and film fans and all that, there are a lot out there who really like this film. And maybe for those out there who are watching this video, maybe it might work for you, but unfortunately for me, it just didn't work at all. I just found this, like I said, such an incredibly dull experience that I just couldn't wait for this film to be over. I don't know, maybe I was in a mood, who knows, because I saw this right after seeing The Daughter, so I was kind of a bit angry with that film, so maybe I put all my frustrations onto it on this film. Maybe I'll check the film out again at some point, but even then, I'm not in a huge rush to see it again. Like I said, I just did not like this film at all. It's boring. There's barely a story, and even when the film actually tries to have a story, it's just so convoluted and hard to follow that you just stop caring. And the characters and performances are dull. I just did, like I said, I've stated this a few times in this part of the video, and I'm going to say it again, I just did not care about anything on this film, about this film at all. I hated it. Not every single second of watching this film. So, yeah, this is, but not even the great cinematography can make this film work for me, which is, sadly. So, yeah, that's The Assassin. So if I had to rate this film, I'm going to give it 1 star. I really hated it that much. And I mean, I really, 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 really hated it. So, but, that's just me. So, yep, that's the end of this very negative 9th edition of my MIFF video reviews. Keep a lookout very soon for my 10th edition, in which I'll be reviewing the Marlon Brando documentary, Listen to Me, Marlon, and as well as the horror thriller, The Invitation. So keep a lookout for that one, and I'll see you guys all later. See everyone. Bye.